Hi, I'm Jeff Andre, an account executive here at Arkiva. I want to thank you all for being with us. Today's topic of discussion, the importance of supply chain collaboration. Joining me is Sujit Singh, Arkiva COO, and one of my supply chain planning mentors. Sujit, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. It's always great to talk to you.
Fantastic. Hey, let's just jump right into it. Over the years, you, me, other folks here at Arkiva, we talk a lot about the collaborative aspect of supply chain planning. From your perspective, where do you see the collaboration, and those partnerships within businesses and across enterprises heading?
Well, where it's heading might be a question that let's get to that in just 1 second. Let's talk a little bit about which type of collaboration we are talking about when we talk about it from the Arkiva standpoint. So there are two main areas where people do collaboration, companies do collaboration when it comes to their supply chain planning. One has to do with external collaboration, where we are partnering with other companies to come up with new solutions, those types of things. And that can have, two flavors in vertical, where we are integrating around the supply chain, whether from the raw material all the way to the finished goods, versus horizontal, where two companies who might be competition, they might cooperate to bring out a new solution. For example, since we are living in COVID times, we hear about the Pfizer BioNTech collaboration. So those are examples of collaboration with companies that are outside. I mean, two companies. Internal collaboration deals with collaboration across departments, and as you well know, Jeff, supply chain is a field where a lot of people have to do a lot of right things for the product to be available for the customer at the right time.
Absolutely.
And so for that to happen, there is a lot of back and forth. And specifically then, when we talk about the field that we play with, which is our supply chain planning, we are talking about people collaborating to provide input so that the plan gets better. And now to your question, where is it headed? Well, we see that the marketplace is changing, evolving. Customers are getting more demanding. I think that's a trend. I suppose it has always been there, but it has certainly accelerated. You probably are a more demanding customer today than you were 5, 10 years ago. I know I am. Used to be that 3-day wait for an online order was just fine. Today, I find myself itching for the product the very next day.
Yeah.
So the overall customer base is become more demanding, both in terms of the quality of the service, the different types of products that we desire. And as this demand gets fragmented, as we begin to look into the long chain of the demand, it does mean that statistics and maths and artificial intelligence and machine learning, all these techniques will only get you so far. And it really, the people who have direct knowledge, the pulse of the marketplace, their input will become more and more important. So I think this area, while we will continue to make progress in all the mathematical fields, this area of collaboration will gather steam.
Yeah. We talk about different types of tools, out there to help, with this process. What are some of the tools that you see being utilized, in this collaborative process?
Well, when we talk about supply chain planning and the collaboration within, there are two distinct types of tools. One has to do with online or always on technology, very often delivered through online portals, whether it's a web page, whether it's an app, where you are in essence being able to collaborate while you are online. And Jeff, as you know, you are in the sales side of things. You travel a lot. You visit customers' offices. You are on a plane. You are in a hotel room. Very often, you do not have access to the internet connection all the time. So this online technology, while useful and very lightweight and has its own benefits, has its limitations. And as a result, there is also a second kind of technology that has to do with some kind of an offline mode where very similar to your, Outlook or any email program, you can connect, you can download data to your machine, and then whenever you are on the internet the next time, you can sync it. So that means, well, you can type up an email while you're flying in an airplane. So similar to that, a collaboration technology exists which has an offline capability where, as a salesperson, if you are visiting a particular customer on the flight there, you can uh, review their data, which you have previously downloaded while you were in the office. Certainly then review that data directly with the customer, if the customer is also willing to provide collaborative input. And then on the way back, type in any input that you might have discerned from your meetings. And then the next time you are, maybe at the airport lounge where you have a Wi-Fi connection, or whether you are back at your home office, you then sync it back up. So those are the two main technologies. There are many ways you make that available. Certainly, you can make that available through an app on a mobile device. I mean, that's certainly becoming more and more popular.
Right.
We are talking about certainly Microsoft Excel type of technologies. That's still very acceptable. And of course, if you're in the online mode, then a web portal of any kind is very acceptable as well. So those are the different flavors that we see when we talk about the technology space when it comes to collaboration.
You mentioned it, as a sales guy, I'm talking to a lot of businesses throughout the year, and a lot of the contacts that we get, they talk about a collaborative process, but then when we go there and talk to them about it, they tell us that it's hard, it's difficult, So, is there any advice that you have on this topic, that you could share for organizations that are making, are looking to make this happen within their walls?
Well, I mean, given our experience, as you can imagine, we have a few thoughts on this. Number one would be that this is a journey. You cannot just flip a switch and collaboration will happen.
Yeah.
Second is that, make sure, like I said, make sure the appropriate process and technology changes are made available so that as the collaborator, if you will, I have ease of use in providing that input. We should be able to change our process to meet them in the middle, so to speak. So if I think in dollars and you think in units or vice versa, then, I should not be forcing you to accept or provide the input in my units. Maybe I have to accept it in your units and then do the conversion.
Yeah.
Certainly the exception-based planning idea where I'm minimizing the effort needed from you and kind of helping you also to say, here are the areas where you should really focus your energies, because it's not just the case of collaboration. I think it can also then further on help with the sales itself. Like the salesperson could benefit from the fact that, well, here are my areas where I should really be focusing. So those are things that can help. I would say that if I had to pick one thing, I would say that thinking in terms of a journey is something I see very often is missing, that people think that as soon as they plop a technology, something magical will happen. It never does.
Right.
And the second worst thing that I have seen is that people want to do too much. The research suggests that up to 75% of collaborative input actually makes the forecast worse. So here we are, it's a double whammy. We have wasted the time of the person who provided all that input, if you think about it. And then 75% of it was useless. So why not focus on the exceptions, focus on the areas where there is actual benefit, train them on providing limited but more important input. And that can help on both sides. The salesperson can sell more, which is what they want to do anyways. And we got the most important input that actually impacts the forecast accuracy.
That's fantastic. Listen, we're just about out of time today. Sujit, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. This is, as a sales guy, this is a very hot topic. We run into it all the time. So I appreciate your time today talking about it. And, we look forward to seeing everyone back here again next time right here on Arkiva Live. Thank you very much.